Thank you, Kate. And our next speaker is Dr. Birgit Szabo, who is recently received her PhD from Macquarie University. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you so much. My talk's going to be a little bit different because it's less applicable to like protecting or helping. It's more about, are they smart? We'll see. Well, today we'll talk about Gidgee skinks. It's not working.
What are we doing?
I'm trying to.
Go forward.
Yeah, it's not working. So sorry. Technical differences.
No.
I'm so sorry. Also, probably some of my videos are not going to work. I'm very sorry for that as well.
There we go.
So Gidgee skinks are these cute little chunky little fellas. They're very cool lizards. They live in family groups, which is pretty cool for lizards anyway. In big social groups of over 10 individuals, and the adults are pretty chunky. They can be about 28 centimeters in length, which is a pretty chunky lizard. They're also long-lived, and which is pretty handy if you do research where you have to train them to do something for getting food. They also eat mostly plants. So when you go out into the desert where they live, so you have to, in New South Wales, you have to go to the left-hand edge near Broken Hill to actually find them. And they live in these rock piles. So you basically, the way you find them is you walk around, you look for their poo. If you find the poo, you take your flashlight and you light in every little crevice you can find. And it's ridiculous in how small a little crevice these freaking lizards can hide in. Sorry. So that's how it looks like. Me lying in the dirt, looking for lizards. And that's what you see. You light in, and somewhere in the back you see a lizard is staring at you, and it's like, haha, you're never gonna get me. But yeah, this is not gonna work. I'm so sorry. Just imagine there's like under the rock, you see like this little tail sticking out of a little hole. Yeah, I'm so sorry. And then you catch them. So catching them, you can either use these traps, but as you see, the alligator traps, they're made out of metal, and if you're in the desert, they get really hot, and you don't want that lizard to be in that box for very long. It's very dangerous. And the other way to basically get them is to like poke their faces, so they walk towards you backwards, and then when they're close enough, you just grab them, you wiggle, and you pull. It sounds weird, but that's like the best methods to actually do that. And then there's happy me, yoo-hoo, lizard. So, and then we take them back to the lab where we put them in these little boxes with some enrichment, and then we're gonna, I did look if they were smart. And basically today I'm gonna talk about 3 different studies that I did. One was to understand how they perceive barriers when the barrier blocks food, how if they can learn to walk around these barriers. I also looked at how well they are at spontaneously discriminate different food quantities. And lastly, I also looked at how they learn visual cues, colors and patterns, for example. So first one, how do they go about when they are faced with a barrier? So this is like a standard task. This is used in many different animals. And basically what you do is you basically make up a tube with some food inside, so the lizard actually has to get to the food. But they usually don't understand that that is a barrier. So they have to actually figure out, okay, I can't go for it, I have to go to the side. So yes, the video's working. So this is basically the first trial for that lizard. He has never seen this tube, but it's a transparent mesh tube, so he can smell the food, he can see the food that is inside, but he can't reach it. And as you see, you will see that he's gonna try to like go for it directly because he doesn't understand how it's working. So here he's like, why can't I get in there? But then a few tries later, the lizard is like, I've seen this before. This is not working. Going directly for it is not helpful, so he will walk actually around without even touching the tube and go to the side and eat the food. And this is not just telling us that they can learn and they understand now that this is a barrier. It also tells us that they have really good abilities to control themselves, because going for that food that they can see and they can smell is it's a very automatic reaction. And they can actually stop themselves to do this detour and walk in the side. Okay, as I mentioned, these lizards are herbivorous, mainly herbivorous. And they love carrots. They go nuts for carrots, believe me. And we can use this, it's pretty handy. So basically what I was thinking is can they, if I put different amounts of food in front of them, will they go to the larger amount? We would think, more food is better. So basically, I cut up these carrot pieces and I put them two at a time in their enclosure, and in these 6 possible unique combinations. And I was just observing which one do they choose first. So here's a little video of that. It's speeded up. So here's the lizard. He's gonna discriminate between 3 and 4 pieces. We're going to give it a carrot first, because if you don't give them a carrot first, they will not participate, because there's what is happening? There's no food. Also, we don't actually let them eat the carrot pieces, and so the lizards get very demotivated if there's no carrots involved. They can eat. It's just what happens, They're because now we would remove the food, so it's very frustrating. And the good thing is they did actually what we expect. So they went for more carrots, but there was a little caveat to that. So when the numbers were far apart, like 1 and 4, they could do that very well. But the closer the numbers got, like 3 and 2, the less well they could discriminate between the different quantities. And this happens in a lot of animals. Like other herbs, like Italian wall lizards or Herman's tortoises, they behave the same way, or pigeons. Even dolphins behave like that. It's very cool. The next thing is, so they love carrots, right? So now we can teach them all kinds of things. So we sent the lizards to lizard school. Basically what I did is I trained them to touch cue cards to receive a carrot. Which, at the beginning, they have no idea what's happening. So you show them the carrot and the lizard starts walking. As soon as it touches it, you give it the carrot. If you repeat that many, many, many times, the lizard will realize, touching this will get me the carrot. So basically, and then when you put the cue card further and further away, so the lizard has to actually walk up to it, and then at some point they will start to touch it with their snout to receive the carrot, as you can see here. And you have to be pretty fast. Literally, when they touch, you have to shove the carrot in their face. So, and here the lizard already knows. This is like 2 weeks later. The lizard knows, this is the cue card. If I walk up to this, if I bite it, I will get a carrot. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But where's it good for? So basically what happens is we cannot actually ask the lizards, what do you see? Can you discriminate this? What are you doing? Doesn't work like that. So we need to get creative. And with this method, we can ask them tons of questions. For example, can you distinguish between these 2 colors or these 2 patterns? Can you learn that if you touch one, you get a reward, but you have to avoid the other one? So basically, that's what I basically did. So I showed them 2 different blues, light blue and dark blue. For this lizard, the correct cue was the light blue one, and he will walk up to the light blue one, he will touch it, and I will give it some food. Same with the pattern. So these 2 patterns, which from my point of view are pretty obviously different. So you can't see them in the video, but the left one is the 8 and the right one is the 2. And for that lizard, the 8 was correct, so he walks up to it, he touches FE. So the funny thing here is they had no problem learning to go to the light blue, avoid the dark blue, no problem. But they could not, for the love of God, not do the bottom one. 52 days later. So I was standing there like, are you freaking kidding me? This is different. Why can't you discriminate this? So basically what I thought, is this too similar? For me, it's not. For you, it's probably also not. But for the lizards, apparently, this is not awesome. They can't discriminate. So what I basically did, I did this. So I removed the 2, I gave them a totally empty cue card, and suddenly we can learn it, like within 2 days. And then I also, of course, I did the other one, 2 versus 0. They couldn't do that. So this is just, it's just a start, but it seems like the lizards do perceive these things very differently from us. Where for us, this is very different. For them, it is not, as you can see. So, are they smart? Well, for me they are. I love them, so for me they are. And this is just the beginning. The study of the lizard learning or reptile learning in general is like far behind what is done in primates, what is done in mammals in general, or in birds. It's lacking far behind. So this is just the start. The more research we do, the better we will understand them, the better we might also understand the evolution of intelligence. And of course, never underestimate your lizards. They might even surprise you by like learning how to touch cue cards to get a little bit of food. People have called me crazy. Okay, thank you so much.